Hello, hello.
Hey, Megan. There we go. How are you
How are
doing?
you? Doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's very nice to be on the call with you. And
It's a delight itself.
yes, did you get a chance to watch my short little video?
Unfortunately, no, our contractor decided that the last few days were going to be his day to arrive after months of
Oh, okay.
not showing his head.
No worries at all. It's just a short introduction. I can still do that. And then, of
Brilliant.
course,
Well,
afterwards, you can watch it if you like. So.
yes.
The purpose of this call is for us to network and find out how we can help each other in this business. So, why don't you tell me your story and how you think I can help you? I noticed from your description self-storage, so maybe tell us how you got into real estate.
I got into real estate. My father was in it in the 80s, and like many in this country, did not survive well.
Hmm,
So he ended up becoming a serial entrepreneur, mainly focused on Amway.
okay. Yeah.
And he built a business in Amway, not necessarily on the multi-level marketing side, but on the people building side.
Oh.
He unlocked the secret of building people, and thus a byproduct was they wanted to do something to better themselves, and so they joined Amway with him, and we he created a family that survives to this day. At his and my mother's funerals, people came up and shared that they essentially wouldn't be in the space that they are in life if my father hadn't pulled them out of wherever they were
Hmm.
and told them that there was something more to them. So I we've done single family homes, and we did quick serve ice cream stores back in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh.
And my husband managed music artists.
Hmm.
So when we got out here, we out to Colorado. We lived in Nashville for many years, and then moved out to Colorado, and we always had a dream of getting into self storage. So we took a class during COVID because they were online, and decided to jump into self storage. We evaluated over 100 facilities before we found the one that fit,
Wow.
and brought in some investor partners, which were also friends, and we embarked on self storage for 3 years,
Hmm.
um, and got it sold. And now we're ready to get back into the asset management space.
Hmm.
So it's been a fun journey for sure.
Yeah. That's interesting. That really is interesting, and you proved that you stick at it. I love the story that you built. Now, I was in that Herbalife for about 15
Yes,
years, and
love their
so,
bars.
yeah, I climbed up. I got up to what they call almost a millionaire team. It doesn't mean you make a million. It means you're selling a million, and
Right.
but yeah, it was quite an experience. I did enjoy it. In fact, I actually built teams and got rewarded with the like Hawaiian vacations twice, which is really cool. Because it's hard to do that actually. But I was on a good team, and I know what you're saying about, building the relationships were the integral part of it, and but I eventually got knocked out of the game really because the way we were building our business was through TV and radio ads, and yeah,
Really?
yeah, you had to build. We had this avatar of a fox, and you had to bid for the spaces, and it got just too expensive, and our team got too big, and so the leads actually became harder and harder to get, and so the momentum
Okay.
of our business just unraveled. And at one time, I was just about to break through into the next level on the marketing plan, with building a team, and the leads didn't drop that month, and so it just
Oh
lost all my
no.
momentum and it all unraveled because I was spending what about $5,000 or $6,000 a month in advertising, and
Yes.
I was making about that, but so it's like a break-even point, and so it all unraveled and went away. It left a
Oh,
bad
I'm
taste
so
in my mouth.
sorry.
Yeah, but
I imagine so.
it's part of the journey, and really, my heart is in real estate. I've always enjoyed real estate. Whenever I moved house in England, which I did frequently as an adult, I seemed to have the eye for the deal. And so when I came over here to the States over 22 years ago, I did Colton Sheets, no money down. And so he was have you heard of Colton Sheets? He
I've not.
he was he's no longer alive now, but he had a great influence in the real estate space from the 1980s. He was on TV all the time doing those infomercials and roped in a lot of people into real estate. In fact, a lot of the big influencers today in real estate, they started with cotton sheet.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I tore into that course. I consumed it, swallowed it whole, and before long I was buying multifamilies. I dived in the deep end and bought a couple of duplexes and single. No money down, cash at closing. So it was a really good start. And my next
Great.
purchase was a 24 unit. That one was actually with a conventional loan. So I don't know how I did it looking back, but I managed to convince a bank to loan me all this money with no credit because I was from England, you see. So I didn't have any
Yes.
history. They didn't know who I
Yes.
was. You know, I wrote a business plan, and I must have done a good enough presentation to give them enough confidence to give me this loan. And then the seller carried the second note for me. And I didn't think it was even possible. It's a 24 unit, right? I mean, I never bought anything like that before. And
That's amazing.
yeah, no, I wrote a little book about it as well. Cautionary tales for real estate investing. Um,
I noticed your book. I very much like your book. I've thought that this
yeah,
lending thing should be labeled, 1,000 ways to die in PML.
mm,
Um,
yeah. So anyway, I went on to get over 100 doors. I had a goal to get 500 doors, and I kept hitting the ceiling whenever I went after the larger complexes. It was
yes.
like a syndicate, and I didn't understand it or how to get into it. I thought you needed a lot of money. And just 3 weeks ago, in fact, I found myself in a 3-day training event uh, on large multi-families, and it
Yes.
lit up for me in my brain all the ways I could have done it better the first time round, because and so it all made sense. So I finally found my niche, as it were. I mean, I started following pace, what, 2 or 3 years ago now. Been in the league gator for a couple of years and served on numerous teams within the community. So you know, got to know a lot of people actually in sub two and gator. Are you in
Mhm.
gator or sub two or?
I am in Gator. Our goal is sub 2. We honestly jumped into Gator because of the lower barrier to entry and because I had such a rich growing up with the multi-level marketing and building a team, I wasn't going to jump into a group that didn't value its people. So
Mm,
I used Gator to test the waters, and I've been tremendously overjoyed by the quality and caliber of people and the
mm.
willingness to help build other people up.
Yes, it is remarkable. So, and that's really what I had missing in the first time round was the strength and the importance of network and
Mm,
community.
mhm.
It is very much a team game, and we all have parts to play. And for me, when I was thinking about the large multifamily, it made sense. You need a large team and you all win together and you win at a higher level. By higher level,
Hmm.
you're making more serious money than messing around with the single families. And I tried that, and that's so frustrating. You do so much work and effort to acquire these deals, and you get it, and you get paid a couple of $1,000s. It just seems like a slap in the
In a
face.
year, yes.
Yeah, yes. So
It
I
was
think
good if
you've
you got in
already,
before the bubble.
yeah, you've already discovered that with self-storage. That's a genius way of investing because you got no tenants complaining about toilets and that, right? So
No, just
yeah,
snakes in the unit or bugs or that the gate doesn't work. It's a different set of challenges for
problem.
sure.
Right. Yeah,
But
nothing's
over half of your
perfect.
people don't go there in a month.
Right.
So, they're not complaining.
Right. So, yeah, so I thought, well, this is where I need to concentrate. And there's also the wonderful thing is, like any niche in real estate, is you don't need money. I learned that from the get-go, right? With no money down, cash at closing type of deals, So there's plenty of places for everyone to be a part of large multifamily if they want, all the way from being a connector, for example, finding people with those deeper pockets and you can get a connector fee. Or you can participate in the many different roles. As a gator, you might like to bring the EMD. The EMDs are large. They start at six figures, 100,000 all the way up. Um, as we do 100 units or more, so they can be anywhere from $10 million all the way up to $100 million is the focus. So yeah, there's lots of different ways of playing this game, and yeah,
And what niche have you found in this gator space? What's your sweet spot?
it's large multifamily. So I'm concentrating on the large EMDs, capital raise. Have you come across Vina Jetty yet? You probably have.
Yes, I got to meet her a few weekends ago. She is such an intentional person.
Right. So that's the kind of space that I'm in, with capital raise and things like that. So
So you're capital raising for funds
yes,
then?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I do find a deal, because my main hat is the acquisitions manager. So when I do find a deal, I put out an email, an invite to a Zoom call where we do the OM, the offering memorandum, go over the
Yeah.
deal. And then if you like it and want to play a particular role, you can throw your money in the hat, as it were, and get to closing and get paid. Or if you're a connector, you can bring along people to see the presentation and see if they want to invest. And of course, if they do, then you'll get paid at closing again. So.
Now, how does that work with funds and syndicates? It seems like there are limitations for how connectors can get paid in that space because it's so regulated by the SEC.
Yes, it is. Yes. Everything we do, mainly what we do is with accredited investors. So it would be
Yes.
something that you would get paid really outside of the closing, as it were, or if you played a particular role, in that. I have yet to talk to the SEC attorney and how that would play its part, but you would have a role with it in it as a connector, so it would be, within the bounds of the law, and how that would play out. But yeah, you can introduce people. There is a way to do that legitimately. But yeah, you've got to be very careful of any Ponzi schemes or anything like that when you're dealing with big money, and that's what we're dealing with, you see. So we have an attorney as part of the team. We talk to the attorneys very early on in that, and he lays down the guidance and how it's all to be done. You probably know there's two ways of doing it. 506B, which is you can have people who are not accredited, in the 506c, which are the accredited investors. So that's,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, so that's for the capital raise. So yeah, everything's documented and written down and what have you. So
And how did you find yourself and team? Who are your other teammates?
well, the umbrella, as it were, is multifamily mindset. The guy who started that is Trevor Devereaux,
Yes.
network of 4,000 in this space. And so we form teams within that. And also, I'm forming teams within Pace's community, both in Sub 2 and Gator. I've been in Gator now for a couple of years, so I'm fairly well known there. And I've been networking quite a bit, so I'm forming, so I've got people I can email to when I do have an offering. They're not frequent. There may be one or two a year, but they're exciting when they start to happen. When we have found a deal, there's
Yes.
plenty of scope to make good money with that. Yeah.
So what's been your let's see. So it sounds like, did you acquire the 24 unit? I feel like that
Yes.
I may have had a cliffhanger there.
Yes. Yes.
Congratulations. So you acquired the 24 unit and then you recently said you got into
That was back in
uh
2009 because I actually lost
oh,
lost all of my 100 doors. I had a 30, a
oh,
32, a 12, a 24, a 5. I made a whole host of mistakes, and that's why I wrote the book Cautionary Tales.
yes.
And one of my biggest mistakes was trying to do everything myself. I relied a lot of tenants in each apartment complex to keep an eye on things. I tried several times to bring in professional management, and they stole money from me the whole time. Uh,
Hmm.
because it's not scalable, the small multifamilies. So when I went on this course and they talked about the large multifamily, it's much better because there's much more money involved that you can afford to have employees. Okay.
Yes.
You have them on site, managers on site, you employ the best management company for that asset class. And, it all makes sense at the larger scale. And the only thing
Yes.
people hesitate about the larger scale is because they think, well, I haven't got that money. I'm not Elon Musk with billions of dollars,
But together,
Yes, together, that's right, because other people do have the money. And not only do they have the money, they hate it being in the bank. They want it earning a return for them. It seems such a waste to have millions of dollars in the bank, right? Doing nothing.
yes.
Yes. So, you got your professionals, all your doctors, your lawyers, your CEOs, managers of companies, all want to deploy the money. They don't just want to live in a mansion, with that's dead money as well. When you own
It
a
is. It
big
is.
house, it's not doing anything for you.
That
You see?
uh, that's a liability. It's not an asset. But so many
Exactly.
people see it as an asset, and it just isn't. It's something you have to fix and maintain, but it doesn't give you the ability. Oh, sometimes it can give you the ability to leverage with a
Yeah.
HELOC, depending on the bank lending market.
Yeah, that's
But
exactly right. And you do see online, if you look, you can see mansions that have been abandoned, or they get
yeah,
sold for $1 because they need millions of dollars to restore them. It doesn't make sense.
have you been looking in Italy recently?
No, is that the case where there's lots there as well? Yeah.
That is the case, and the government in some cities is actually paying people to come in and commit to living 3 years in the town and restoring homes that have been abandoned, and
Right.
a lot of them are quite opulent.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's got to be a financial endeavor in itself because working in countries outside of the US is often a challenge in communication and navigating people out of their siestas.
Right. Yes, that's right. Yes, especially Spain. I used to
Yes.
vacate a lot there, and everything shut down in the afternoon. Never worked that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I spent time in Mexico as a as a child, and then my husband and I traveled. We hit 14 or 15 countries, I think, in the 6 years that we were traveling. And there's definitely a routine to be
Mm,
watched for
yeah,
in those countries, and I love it. I love
yeah,
it very much. I'd love to have a flat in Florence and just live there,
yeah.
right near Santa Croce.
Oh yes, yes. There's some wonderful history there and the culture and everything. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Do
So
you get
are
back
you?
over?
I haven't been back over. That's on my goal list, and yeah, it's been a long time. It's well overdue. One thing after another has really held me back from doing that. Um, yeah, but do you have a family yourself, Megan? Yeah.
I do. When we found out that we were expecting our first, let's see, that's he'll be 7 this week. That was
Okay.
8 years
Wow.
ago.
Yeah.
I told my husband, I said, one more trip. You've got to take me internationally. One more trip before I have to figure out how to pack for
All
this
right.
child.
Yes, that's right. Big life change.
So
Yeah.
yes, so we actually took who two people who ended up being our investor partners in the storage facility,
Mm.
and we toured them through our favorite places in Italy. They went to Cinque Terre. We've been there before. We went to Paris,
Oh,
and then
nice.
we all met up in Rome, and we showed them Rome because we're pretty convinced Rome can be done in a day.
Mm,
And then we did Florence and the Castle Country,
mm.
and took them to wineries and whatnot. But
Oh, really?
that was our sweet spot. My father-in-law says, "Well, you can travel across the United States and you can see so much." I said, "Yes, but there are different people groups with different perspectives in the United States as well, but very much in Europe, and we
Mm,
love immersing ourselves and gaining those different perspectives. And that's probably why we like the creative real estate space, because
mm.
it's looking at the ball from a different perspective
Right,
and figuring out how to get things done instead of asking, can we get things done? When you say can, it's only two options. It's yes or no.
right.
But when you open the question to how can we get things done, the possibilities are infinite.
Yeah, and it bleeds over to other areas of your life as well, doesn't it? You have that different attitude, how can we do this? Yeah,
Exactly.
it's very
So
good.
what are you looking for? What are you looking for these days? Are you acquiring more multifamily? Are you
That's the
um
idea. Yeah. And so I'm building my main concentration or the main activity in this space is capital raise. So I'm concentrating on building my network to try and give as many people an opportunity to know where to deploy their money to make a good return on it. So that's that's really where I'm at. I love teaching as well. I feel because I made all the mistakes in real estate space that I have a lot to give and warn others about it.
yes.
Like so many people, my father always said, two things in life: you either learn the easy way or the hard way. And for some odd reason, I'm like most people, we choose to learn the hard way, and because we think it doesn't happen to us, and we take risks where we're not supposed to, or we don't do enough work or due diligence, and we fall into the hole or blow ourselves up. So. Um,
I'm rowing the boat. My husband and I row the boat right beside you.
Yes. So that's what problem. It's only 26 pages, that book. I'm gonna write a thicker book, a normal size book, shall we say.
Yes.
Because it's really good idea putting it down when you write as well. I don't know whether you found this. You go back over everything and you actually learn more lessons as you think about what you did and why you did it. And obviously at the time you made the best decision you could. You
You
don't
could. Yes.
deliberately make a mistake, but you can see, oh, I didn't do enough work there, or I didn't ask enough questions, or I didn't know enough people, or I didn't ask for help, and so it's really quite an interesting journey writing it down. So this was just the first attempt, and it's definitely gonna write a longer book. So
I applaud you for starting.
yeah.
We have a good friend of ours who's traveled the world. He's a missionary with Youth with a Mission, and he's hit 140 something countries. and he
Wow.
inspires young people all over the world. And we keep saying, Joseph, you need to write this down. You need to take a book on your speaking engagements. And he thinks and postulates and hypothesizes
Mm.
and writes little bits here and there, but we can't get him to actually take action. So you have taken action. Congratulations on 26 pages,
Yeah.
because it's 26 pages more than so many people who have an idea but no action.
Right, right. And was good. It was a surprisingly good experience, in that, because we don't want to make the same mistakes. We want to learn from them.
Mhm.
And along with the course that I took and writing the book, it's given me a lot of confidence moving forward into the larger multifamily space. Um, there is the main lesson from cautionary tales is where there's big money, there's a lot of fraud and criminal activity. There's a lot of mines you can step on and blow yourself up if you're not careful. So
Mhm.
um,
Yes,
you have to,
minds of difficulty, and also there are a lot of people who don't quite understand the concepts, and their minds also might be blown by interacting
yes,
with a
that's
new
right.
perspective. So
So
you're currently in a capital raising space. Then do you have anything
yes.
coming up?
I'm always looking, as I say. We look most of the Here's the thing with large multifamilies as well. Everything that's advertised is what we call the trash can. They've already been through the
Yes.
list and things. So, behind every listing in large multi is a whisper price, which is usually a whole lot less. And you have to be in the club, as it were, in the community. So, a lot of what I do is talking to brokers, getting to know them, building that relationship so you can get on their what's called their VIP list. So when you
Mm.
come across something that where the seller wants to sell, they tap the VIP list first before putting it on the MLS, you see. So that's typically how things are sold. And so a lot of these apartment complexes don't ever come on the market. They get sold even before they come on the market, you see. So,
So
so
so you just build relationships with wholesalers. That's what we've been looking into in the self-storage space. We don't necessarily have someone guiding us to acquire. We just know that when we had our facility before we sold it, lots of headhunters called, and they
mm,
were looking for deals for big groups, and they use their VAs to make calls and
mm,
test out whether a seller was interested, or an owner was interested in selling. So
mm.
is that what you're proposing, or are you just mainly
No,
working through wholesalers,
no, I don't do wholesaling, not in the large family space. We talk to the brokers and build that relationship with them.
brokers? Okay.
Yes, so you come to mind when they come across something that needs to be sold, you see. So, well, it's a little harder, just calling direct to seller on these large families because they're a syndicate, you see. So you're always going to say, well, I have to talk to my partners, even if you could get into it deeper. So it has to already be in the mind of that syndicate that they want to sell or they're ready to sell. And that's when they approach a broker. And that's really, if you're on their VIP list, you'll get the early notification and can put in your best offer, you see.
I see. I
Yeah.
see. That's the space that we're toying with, trying to figure out how to get into. We found we had a $15 million multifamily come to us. He's trying to raise funding for 2.7 million.
Mm,
Um, but then my husband looked and said, there's a storage facility with fantastic numbers in
mm,
Atlanta, Georgia for the same price. And it's the same raise. He said, I'd rather be in that, because our goal is to not touch our money so much before it gets into our bank account.
mm.
So a single family, you have to touch your money a lot. You
Right.
talk to individual people in your individual assets, and they have multiple things that could go wrong. In the ice cream stores, a lightning strike could take out 14 of your refrigeration equipment pieces just in a split second. So
Right.
you have to touch your money a lot.
Hmm.
And in the larger space, probably like in the multifamily space, you just don't have to touch your money as much to get a greater amount in your
Yeah.
pocket. There's auto pay
Absolutely.
and
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, if we were, for example, for easy numbers, the acquisition manager attracts 5% acquisition fee at closing. So if we're talking about a $20 million um, purchase price, that uh, commission is $1 million, which is not a bad payday, right? And that's part of the closing costs. So we're dealing with much bigger numbers, you see, and that's across the board. Every role you have, um,
I apologize.
attracts. That's all right. Attracts that money. So we're actually running out of time. I'm sorry. I have one of these accounts where it cuts you off, but
Oh, no worries, no worries.
yeah, yeah. So do you have any other more questions for me?
I love where your head's at, and I apologize. I'm getting my morning sunshine over here, so you see the shadows changing.
That's all right. That's nice.
But I love where your head's at. I'd love to chat more about what you need and who you need in your team.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this private money lending space and trying to figure out how to find a team. I do best in a place where I can,
Hmm.
help people think through ideas and provide creative solutions and inspire others. I guess that's why I ended up on a Zoom
Hmm.
in Gator.
Yeah.
But I'm looking to see how to join forces and get in those commercial spaces. That seems to be where my sweet spot is. It's not so
Yeah.
much single family acquisitions, though I see where, lending in that space could be beneficial. I've connected, gosh, over $700,000 in the last 30 days.
Hmm.
And my husband says, "How did you do that?" I said, "I don't know. I guess speaking with people."
That's right. It's as simple as that, finding the deals, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. So,
Yeah, you're
and
on the
I'd love
right
to hear
track.
your experience
Yeah.
with
I'm sorry.
we've got this one oh we've got this one that was brought to me to capital raise for, and I spoke with a high-end investor yesterday that I met at a meetup this weekend, and he said, the owner is offering a 60/40 split. He said, and in this space that's just not a good enough split for passive investors. You should be offering an 80/20. I don't know if that's your experience as well,
No, we
or
do it a little bit different, and I can do that on another call with you.
sure.
And I do
Yeah.
have a YouTube channel which I'm started a series on multifamily, which goes over
Oh,
the
nice.
structure and everything. So you could look that up. But now let me just let me see if I can find that. Um,
What is your YouTube channel called?
yeah, I'll just oh, that's not the one. Hang on. It's let's see. Hey, Gunnar. Hey. Hang on. Let's see. There it is. I'll put it in the chat for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and that might answer some of your questions because we're just about to be cut off. But I've really enjoyed talking
Yes,
with you,
sir.
Megan, and
Oh,
connecting.
I've enjoyed speaking with you.
Yes. So don't hesitate to book another call with me if you like, if you do have more questions, and if I get a deal, I'll certainly let you know. And encourage you to come along and see the presentation. There's no obligation, and it's always a learning opportunity to see how these
Yes.
present it. Um, and of course, you can bring along anyone with deep pockets who are looking to deploy money. And if they do, as I say, there's a reward for that, obviously, referral fees. Yeah, so
Thank you so much, Graham, for your time this morning. And may I ask, 865, are you in
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville?
That's right.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where
Yeah.
most of my family was from. They just moved down to Cleveland.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, fantastic. I love it here, actually. I've been here the whole 20 plus years, and
Tremendous.
yeah, yeah.
I'm a Nashville girl. I was born and raised in Nashville, and so hopping over to Knoxville was
So,
not too far of a jaunt.
right, right. And Nashville's beautiful too, the music capital of the world, and been a number of times. Yeah. Well, God bless you, Megan. Well,
You as well.
yeah, let's connect again soon. And I wish you well in your business. And thank you for our conversation. Very nice.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for bringing such value to the Zoom the other day. You feel free to jump on anytime with your wisdom.
Okay. Thank you very much. I love that. Thank you. All right. God bless you.
Have
Bye.
a